teachers and the students. And we managed to instill discipline. And let me tell you, you'll be surprised, in the year 2016-17, international ranking agencies graded AMU as the best university of the country. A university is judged by the research it does. The most important research we did was research for cleaning up the Ganga. I presented a paper to the Prime Minister. I said, you give us this responsibility, we'll clean the Ganga in 5 years. And how? Not by the sewage treatment plants which have been put. There are 140 sewage treatment plants across the Ganga. They've not been able to do anything. We said we'll clean it by green technology, and I've recently presented the same thing to the governor of Uttarakhand. Let us see what happens. And the second thing was desalination of seawater, brackish water. We've got the technology in Aligarh Muslim University, and we are waiting for somebody to accept it. I think it'll be adopted very soon. So I was on a mission to reform the university, and we did.
Absolutely, that's stupendous work. And I'm also wanting to focus on how you've been able to reform madrasa education, particularly when, bringing in the bridge courses, bringing in students from the madrasa and providing them modern education and AMU. And how did this idea strike?
See, I myself am a student of the madrasa. I started my education in a madrasa, went on to a school, St. Joseph's College, Nainital, and then on to NDA. And I have a soft corner for that institution. It has been demonized to a great extent. I understand it. But let me tell you that the madrasas need reformation straight away. And we wanted to start it with the students. So we started a thing called the bridge course in AMU, where we got 100 madrasa students every year, pass outs, gave them a dose of English and gave them a dose of information technology. And these students reformed totally. And they have now become, at the moment, we have about 1,000 students, madrasa students have done the bridge course. They are the agents of change. They are going back to the madrasas from where they passed out and said, look at us. It's not necessary to wear kurta pajama all your life. You can be dressed in a normal way, in a Western way. You can learn English. It is not anathema to Islam at all. Modernity is not. So this is a thing which is required, total reformation of the madrasas, which we managed to do.
Yes, also, did you also face challenges from the traditional form of education at the madrasas? Were they also at this point in time sticklers of their education because they would not want to allow STEM education, modern education to be seeped into their traditional system? And how were you able to fight that stigma?
The problem with the madrasas is that the teachers know only the Quran and nothing else. They're not widely traveled. They have not had an overall education. They have only had education in Islam. So we have carried out a program of train the teachers, where we get in madrasa teachers to try and inculcate modern knowledge. Only once they have imbibed modern knowledge will they be able to pass it on. So train the teachers of madrasas is very, very important, and I think we are working on that.
Also, if you could shed light into how important and crucial has it become to provide the right skill sets to Indian students to be able to enhance employability, because our students, they finish their high school, they go to colleges, postgraduate, but they don't really have the skill set to get the jobs that they are dreaming to have.
Yes, this is one of the problems, but I'll tell you what happens. The problem faced by the Muslim community. Their young are well trained in skills, carpenters, weavers, artists. What they needed is entrepreneurial skills. And entrepreneurial skills will only come if they have a knowledge of Hindi and English and information technology. So this is the thing. Now, the other extreme is students from other communities don't have these skills, but they need to, I think, college education should also include a course where they teach arts where they teach, techniques for various things to manufacture. I think these are the reform is required both sides.
Okay, all right. I'm also going to put into perspective the 2022 very important meeting that you had. You and other prominent members of the Muslim community met with the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. Now, what is the discussion that you had? Obviously, the headlines that were made was that there needs to be reconciliation between the Hindu and the Muslim community. Why do you think that meeting was important?
I think that was a very important meeting. It continues, and we're having another one. We've had already two, third one. See, the problem between both the communities is a lack of dialogue. We need to have dialogue. We need to understand each other's point of view. We need to just dispel the misunderstandings. You call it 600 years or whatever it is. So this is important. A constant dialogue between the leaders of the social organization, the Rashtriya Sevak Sangh, and what we people call us, Muslim intellectuals, whatever it is. We were really 5 friends who were concerned with the slide of, the communal tensions which had gripped the country. We want a peaceful India. We want India which will progress. We want an India which will assimilate all communities, all languages, all religions. I think this opening of the dialogue was essential, and it is going to continue. Don't expect immediate results. Results will not come immediately. It is a slow process, but we are very, very sure that will lead to a lot of understanding between both of us.
Yeah, and how does this specifically lead to reform, education reform? Does this have a connection with the RSS chief coming about, making these tenets? You're saying these changes are going to be made. What are these changes and how are they related to education reform?
Yes, the RSS chief had some misgivings. We clarified them. I think that it is a misunderstanding of what the madrasas are teaching. At the moment, it is mostly about religion, but he stressed upon us that we need to have a broad-based education in madrasas. That is what we are working towards. Let me tell you that not very many Muslim children are studying in madrasas. It's only about 15%. The majority of them are going to government schools because of poverty. We need to reform these institutions. We need to make them schools. A madrasa means a school, and it should not only have religious teaching. It should include all sections. I think once we clarified to the RSS that this is where we are aiming at, this is the way we want to reform madrasas, I think he was pretty satisfied.
Also, do you think the controversies, the communal angle that is picked when it comes to reforming madrasas, changing the traditional education system within the Muslim community, do you think it's really necessary? Should this matter be communalized? Why do you think it is?
I don't think it needs to be communalized at all. Let me tell you that the Muslim community has been the leaders in acceptance of family planning norms. They've been leaders in work with your hands, and I don't think there's a religious angle at all. I look at everything from the perspective of what I learned in the army, that is all inclusive. I mean, during the 1971 war, my regiment was in Longewala. Can you believe that 600 Rajput troops were led by 2 Muslims, 2 Christians, 1 Sikh and 1 Jew. The rest were, of course, of the majority community. That was the composition of my regiment. This is what we are trying to tell people. There is no discrimination. Of course, discrimination is against the less educated. This is the lesson which I have been trying to put across to my community and to the rest of India. Don't give the excuse of discrimination. If you are educated, nobody will stand in your path. Nobody will discriminate against you. I think that's the very important thing. India needs education. We are, Chandrama 3 indicated that we are on the path of progress. We are going to be the powerhouse of the world. But that will only come if the bulk of the population is educated. I'll give you a small example of Japan. In 1852, when the first US steam-driven ship landed in a Japanese port, the Japanese woke up from their slumber of isolation. And they decided that they must learn from everything across the world. They sent out people, they learned the English language, and in 1902, they defeated the Russian Navy. This was a big blow to European powers. So this is what education does. India is on the launch pad. We are going to be a modern nation, but we have got to improve the standard of schooling. I had already projected to Megha a slide which showed that countries which started at the same time as us, 1947, 1948, China, South Korea, Japan had been devastated. So they started again. And China, they started the same time as us. You know what the statistics are? About 90% of these countries which I have named, their students are high school products, 90%. What is the school ratio in India? Unfortunately, it is only 20 to 25%. This is as per the last census. College education, these countries, 50% are college graduates, ours about 10%. So we need to improve the facilities available to our young for school and college education. School is more important because once you have strengthened the foundation, and this is the foundation of a building, you don't have to worry about the superstructure. It'll automatically have strength. If the foundation is weak, I'm afraid that building will tumble in a few years.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what is it that these nations have done right, and what is it that we have been doing wrong to not be able to achieve the education level that they have?
Well, we've not been doing anything wrong. The problems which we were confronted with, the large populations, these countries don't have such large populations. They concentrated, yes, one thing very, very important, and that was disassociation of or inclusion of religious leaders in education. What the Japanese did, they sent their monks to the United States, to Europe, and to the European countries, where they imbibed modern education. They did their PhDs, and they came back thoroughly impressed by what they saw, and they reformed their whole education system. The religious leaders have a large impact on education, and religious leaders need to be modernized. They need to see what is happening in the world. They need to know how education is carried out. This is one of the very important facets.
Absolutely, sir. Very aptly put. I'm out of time, but I thank you very much for that invigorating conversation with us about educating a new India to then reach to the higher pinnacles of success that India is going to become the global power in the years to come. But thank you very much, Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, for joining us. And let me quickly invite Pooja Sharma Gupta from our marketing team of ITV Network to please present you with a token of our appreciation. Could we have a round of applause, please, for Lieutenant General Shah once again?